Hi, everybody. Welcome to Serenity Cards and Coaching. This is our weekly team leadership meeting, but this is a great topic for everyone. It's a great topic, honestly, whether you're doing Stampin' Up! As a business, whether you're doing it as a hobby, it's even a great topic. You can kind of extend some of the learnings here for some other spring cleaning in your life. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I'm sharing the agenda. If you need the PDF, you can get it from me. Just text me or send me an email or send me a message. I'm at leela@leelameinke.com.
It's
So
not going
let's
to be on your
go.
website?
It's
It's
going
not
to
going
be
to be
on
on
my
your Facebook?
website. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be
Okay.
on Facebook, all the
Okay.
places. And probably a free PDF in my PDF library with
Yeah.
a link. So, all righty. Spring clean your way through every new catalog. So, just a little bit of an introduction. I consider our stamping to this kind of came up in my prayers this morning, but I consider our tools to be blessings. So they're blessings that help us serve others. They allow creative expression. So really my overarching when I'm deciding whether to keep a thing in my space or not, does it fit into that definition? And do I see a future use for it that I will like pretty sincerely probably do, not just like, oh, I should do that. I want to do that. Wouldn't it be great if I could do that? But it's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to do that. Then I'll keep it. So, and it's great for us to just look at our things, all of our things, our clothing, everything, just periodically. Um, for me, I love new stuff. I'm one who loves new stuff. I've built a process around it. So I have a process that just allows for new stuff to come in, some old stuff to go out. And with that said, I'm super mindful of my resources. And I've got tips in here for how can you do capacity planning? How can you find just the right amount of shopping that's right for you and just the right amount of storage that's right for you, for kind of the whole picture. And it can work getting new stuff. It can. So, and here's the other thing I guess I want to say. You might have a different view. Please follow this outline with your view in mind. All I can share is my experience. All I can share is like kind of, but I do have um, other thing where I've talked to my sister Doris a lot about this. She's got a little different philosophy. So, and I've kind of woven that in sometimes. So you be you. This is not like this is how you should do it. This is a general outline for how to consider it and with some specific examples. So, when is a good idea to go through your
Mhm.
crafting stash or any stash? I say in the Stampin' Up! World, every new mini or every new annual catalog. So, for us now, we're on a new cycle. We know that that's every 4 months. And just I'm one that hasn't been good at like, oh, that'll just take an hour or two. No, no, I would give a day to just say, you know what? I'm going to give myself a day to go through my immediate surroundings. Or if you can't give a whole day, give 2 hours, then 2 hours, then 2 hours, then 2 hours. But, and this is both kind of from a storage and a get rid of perspective. So, a couple things, and I've worked with professional organizers. I've worked on process improvements, like technically at work, that was one of the things that I did. So, here's some tips for you. Keep like items with like items. Keep punches with punches. There's only one place for each type of item. So I used to all the time, I would have a place for stamps, but then I would have like I was in the middle of a project. So I would stuff everything into a box and then I would put the box on the shelf. And then 2 months later, hadn't gotten back to it. And then I'm like, where's that stamp? So stamps go with stamps, they get put away right away. And everything clearly labeled, and you know your place. It may take some time to set up that system, but those are some things that over time I've kind of set up, and it really is very, very peaceful. So, those are some thoughts. Start simply is another experience I would share. Oh my gosh. I've been collecting and stamping since 1990. And so this comes with a lot of experience and a lot of perspective. Start simply. Like if you, for the longest time, I collected, I mean, too much. Every magazine ever since the beginning of time that had to do with stamping or scrapbooking. Every rose that ever exists. I loved roses and I bought all different brands and whatever. So if your space is overwhelming, like just take it a step at a time, a stamp at a time, slow but steady, and then keep coming back to it. So, and then once you've got it, I feel like pretty good about the system. I still have some areas that need improvement, but now it's like a matter of maintenance, but it takes a while. So let's say we're going to do this every 4 months. We're coming up on a time. Today is March 27th, and on the 29th in the Stampin' Up! World, demonstrators are going to learn what's retiring. And then that on April 4th of 2023, the last chance items are kind of published to the all customers, and the price, if there's discounted prices or whatever, that'll be out there April 4th. So assuming you're a demonstrator, you can download the retiring Excel spreadsheets. And if you're a customer, I publish them, but they can be a little bit overwhelming. So if you're a customer, just ask me for one. And so it's a specific list which says, oh, for these catalogs, these things are retiring. So if you're gonna like systematically go through all your stuff and you want to take a look at what's retiring, print out those lists and start to work from them. You may not care a stitch about what's retiring. It's a good idea to just kind of go through everything every 4 months anyway and just take a look. Am I liking this anymore? And you may not normally care, but we're having a color refresh. So you might care about that. Like you might only have space for, I don't know, 20 ink pads, 30 ink pads. You might want some of the new colors. So it may apply to you at all different levels, right? So the first thing that I try to do is, and this is funny because I was talking to somebody and they're like, policy, that sounds like, a rule from the boss. And so I mean it in the loosest sense of the word, but like, do you have your own kind of policies or guidelines or things that are true to you that guide you? And take some time to bring awareness to this question. We do all have some, and the more we know them, the more we're aware of them, the more we commit to them without being like imprisoned by them, the easier decision making gets. So, for instance, and here's an example where I'll show you two ends of kind of the extreme. Anytime a new Santa product comes out from Stampin' Up, I buy that Santa. I may even buy Santas that are not Stampin' Up just because I love Santa. And I use him, and then I want the next Santa the next year, so I probably don't keep it. That's me. So I love the new, and I love the category of Santa. My sister, Doris, has a different approach. She loves snowflakes, she loves pine cones, and she uses them forever and ever and ever. So she has pine cones from years ago. She has snowflakes from years ago, and she loves them. I mean, every snowflake has its own personality, right? Sometimes a new snowflake comes out. I want the new, so I get it. But I might have liked last time's better. Doesn't matter. I want the new. I use the new. That's not Doris. Doris saves her snowflakes. Now, if for some reason a new snowflake comes out and she absolutely like it's better than the other one because the dyes are cooler or it's got a different shape or does something different, she may get it and she may either add it to her library or more likely she'll swap that in and she'll get rid of the old one. So do you have, like, I know for a fact once it retires, it's gone for me with a few limited exceptions, and I'll show you. Others are like, you know what? I love this category and I'm keeping it, and I don't need to ever invest in snowflakes again because I got them. So if you've got things like that you know in your mind, and if things come up for you as I go through some more of the categories and questions, maybe jot those down. Jot down what your policy is. I promise you, when you have clarity, it makes decision making easier. I promise you, when you make a decision once. Now, are you beholden to it? No. I even have a place where I've made a couple exceptions and I had storage for it, so I made those exceptions. But the better you know yourself, the way you genuinely, truly stamp, store, shop, behave, and the more you can articulate that, the easier and kind of smoother this process goes. So here's some examples. Colors. I mean, I talked about there's going to be a color refresh. So what does that mean? Stampin' Up, I think, has, I don't know, give or take 50 colors. possibly 10 to 15 of those are going to go away and be replaced. They might bring in some retired. We know that Pretty Peacock is coming back. We know Lost Lagoon is coming back. We don't know anything else. We don't know anything else that's leaving. We don't know anything else that's coming. They'll introduce some new colors. They'll bring back some in colors. They'll bring back, we don't know. So what is your policy on colors? Do you have one? Is it just, I love the color, I have space for 10, that's my policy? Then that's it. Bingo, bango, done. Is it, no, I only want current colors? That's me. I only want current colors. That's my policy. So I have a storage. So I'll show you my storage in a little bit, but I only work with current in colors. And even though I have a little bit of space that allows for some retired colors, ask me when I've ever used them. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. They're right there. I could reach them. I couldn't tell you, but I love them. And it's like, I have a space I cannot part with. Taken with Teal retired like 2 color refreshes ago. I cannot part with it. It's beautiful. It's like right here, but I never use it. So I personally only work with current colors. So the minute I get the list, and this is me, the minute I get the list, it's like, oh, that's old news. I'm going to be pulling it. It is. And I'll put them somewhere else. And then if I need them, I know where they are. I can bring them back over. But I'm like, that's old news. Bring in the new. I know that. That's my mindset. Others love the current in colors. Polished pink, it's not even here. It's sitting over here because it's in use. Like, I should probably have it out permanently. I love polished pink. It's going to go away. I don't know if it's going to come back. I don't care. I have a decision about it already. Out with the old, in with the new. I won't use it. So what is your policy? What is your budget? What is your space? What are your thoughts? It's a really good thing to get a handle on because new colors are coming. I do have a storage spot for ink pad overflow. I'll show you that picture, but I never end up using it. So here's my picture. If you guys can see it over here. Now, you guys, it's my business. I've been stamping a long time. It's my hobby. I don't have kids. I had the means when I was working in tech to build a nice little library. So this is my library of stamp pads. The bottom 2 are current. And I have duplicates because I hold classes. The very, very top, those are either really duplicate or like, there's my Taken with Teal right there. I love him. I haven't used him for years. He might be dried out. I don't even know. So you can see my blends. These are current. These are retired. And well, these right here are retired. These are skin tones and these are extra markers. I do have some non-Stampin' Up. I shouldn't tell you. Usually I turn that around. but I bought them before I joined Stampin' Up, actually, or before Stampin' Up had alcohol markers, and so I have them. Ask me how often I use them. Very rarely, right? I use current. That's what I use. So, and I always put my ring inker there too. These storage devices are from Stampin' Storage. So the minute I get the list, I probably will come over here and I'll start pulling things out, make way for the new, right? For me. So that is ink pads. Cardstock, I only have space for current colors. That's these right here. I put them in rainbow order. I mean, I probably could expand down here. That's where I put my extra basic white. I only have space for current colors, so that's what I do. And this is where my designer series paper is. And I've started to be a little more, I used to buy every pack and have it sitting there, but I found I ended up with a lot of paper at the end. So I've been much more frugal about how I buy designer series paper and how I use it. I participate in my own product shares. I'll talk about that in a minute. So cardstock, I only have space for current colors. That's all I keep. I do have an old color like Blush Blossom or something that matches skin tones because I make paper dolls sometimes in another world. But I rarely ever end up using that. But I don't keep old cardstock. It goes out in the garage and that's it. Now, am I sad because Pretty Peacock is coming back? Yeah, but will I be able to get my hands on it soon enough? Yes. Do I know those of you who bought like 3 packs and if I really needed it, I could ask you? Yes. So it's crystal clear for me. And I don't have to buy it all right away. Well, we can talk about that. But so we're just kind of talking about purging and making way for the new right now. So blends and markers, I keep current and retired separate. So I went through all that. I do have another area. I loved markers, and I was not Stampin' Up! For a long time, so I have a lot of other brands. So I went to go use one the other day. It was dry. So what did I do? I didn't put it back in the area. I kept it aside. And then one day when I was on a phone call, I just took out each marker and just kind of went through each one. They were all dry. I threw them all away. That was that, right? So cleared up space. I don't have that clutter anymore. Like done. So yeah, we can purge as we go also. So, and then this is how I keep my scraps. Again, I'm grateful enough that I can have a room dedicated. So yes, I have a whole cabinet dedicated to scraps, but I use these. And you guys know in my kits, I do a lot of die cut. So I come in here and I pull from these, and that's how I keep my scraps. I just thought that I would show you. So that's that guy. What else would I share? This is my 6x6. This is oversized, like watercolor paper, non-Stampin' Up! Stuff, because I do some mixed media. Here's my ribbon. It's a hot mess. Here's my colored pencils. There's nowhere enough room for that. So here's my embellishments, and here also is my ribbon. So again, only current. I do have, like, this is my twine box. I did keep the fan club twine that's like navy, red, whatever, green. Not opened, haven't used it. It's in there, haven't touched it. So I guess I keep it there, like maybe it'll come back and then I can have it. But because it's a pretty big box for twine. But really, these are only current embellishments. These are only current. As soon as they're done, I pack them up, out they go. So that's that guy. Designer series paper. So here's how I do designer series paper. I showed you up above where I have place for a lot of it. Space and organization kind of dictate my policy. So I have current on shelves near my cardstock. I have category boxes. So if it were to relate to peacocks at all, I have a whole peacock box. If it were to relate to ocean at all, I have a whole ocean box. Dr. Seuss, which isn't really Stampin' Up. Valentine's and Hearts that I really, really, really love. Christmas, I love the 12 Weeks of Christmas, roses, castles. Like I have some categories that over the years I always use. So I have those on the shelf. I'll show you those. And then I have retired. And I keep them all separate, right? Current is what I can work with. Category is I'm going to make a peacock card because I know someone whose last name is PFAU, and he was a coach, and it stands for peacock. So I made him a Christmas card that's a peacock. And like he just sent me a note the other day that's like, I love that card, right? So I've got my set categories. I do use them, not often. And then retired, I didn't take pictures of those. Those are all outside in my garage. They're organized, they're labeled, they're alphabetized, they're priced, they're ready for sale. Tools, I didn't write a whole category on tools. I love tools. These are all my tools. Like I've got stencils, and I've got brayers, and I've got my embossing. I've got my punches. So these are current punches. These are retired, and down below those are retired. These are circles, right? So I'm not getting rid of my circle punches. I'm not. You can't make me. Now they're coming back, and I might buy the new one. I might, so that I can show it, because these are like the whale tail, right? And sometimes they'll come with just a different 1/8 of an inch difference. And so it won't be exactly the same size. But anyway, punches all stay with punches. These are all my other tools. I do separate them between like current embossing powder and old, but those are all my tools. So stamps. I have about 70 current. These are all my current. You know what? It's at the end of an annual, it's at the end of a mini, and I like new stuff. So I get new stuff. I've probably showed I'm really proud. I've probably used every single one of them. This is probably the first year I can say that. So really, I have goosebumps and gratitude. So I have about, I'm going to guess 70. I don't know. I stopped counting at 30 and then I just doubled it. But you know what? Ask me in a month. And they're all sitting here alphabetized. These are right at my hand right here. When they retire, I will go through this retirement list alphabetically, and I'll pull them all out, and out they go. So those are current. I also have retired. Again, been stamping since 1990. I have Stampin' Up. I have non-Stampin' Up. I have extra. This is like it is all going to fit in here. And if it doesn't, I have to get rid of it. So I have to spend like probably a few hours kind of going through this. I had to get some new shelves. Anyway, whatever, still needs a little bit of work. This is my retired, and they're labeled, and I do use them, not as much, but they're there. These are like the ones that I really, really love them, and I'm not getting rid of them. So that's that. I do have favorite categories. So I tend to have favorite themes, categories, or topics. So Santa, Dr. Seuss, peacocks, hearts, roses. So these are like 13 by 13 boxes or 12 by 13. And so I store them in there. I only have room for these. As soon as I start overflowing, then stuff needs to go. So I have 2 baseball. I'll probably take some time one day and kind of condense them into 2. I have specific project boxes. So some I will do these, and some are like, this right here is the workhorse of everything. So team kit, this box is empty right now. You know why it's empty? Because we haven't seen the new catalog yet, and I can't pre-order yet. And so I finished processing the March team kit. This is empty. I don't have any ideas for the upcoming one. I haven't even seen anything, but it's empty and it's there and it's waiting. And all that's going to go in there is April, maybe May if I start to have ideas for May. So my Simply Stamping, my team, and my March kits are all here. This is my workhorse area. I absolutely make sure when I finish a kit, I empty it out. So as I'm going through things, if I know like, oh, here's a sample that I want to do at bingo, then, and my bingo box is up here, I'll put the sample in the bingo box because I know that's what I want to do next time. And then I've got it there. Or I've started to pre-make some little goodies for bingo. They're in the bingo box. So, and I always have that bingo box, even though I do bingo like 3 or 4 times a year. So that's some tips on organizing and what to do with stuff as you have it. I have a card hospital. So this is a term that Doris and I came up with one day. We were trying to find a name, but it's like, where do you put that stuff that needs a repair? The bow, it tore. It needs an inside. It needs just a little bit more. It's a partial card. It's not finished. So that is sitting right over there. And let's say I do a paper pumpkin and I've got some extra bits. I throw it into the card hospital. The idea with the card hospital is that one day I'll play doctor and I'll sit out and make all those things, but I never do. So the pros, it makes it super easy to know what to do. I just toss stuff in there. And I don't think twice about them because we've got all these little bows and ribbons, and what do we do with them? So this is like one area where I put them and then I deal with them all at once. The cons are I keep meaning to sit down and doing, and I don't. So sometimes I'll package it up and I'll send it to a teacher and I know she uses them. Sometimes I package them up and I give away a bunch of die cuts at bingo. But it makes cleanup and decision making in the moment easy. Like I can just put it there. And I'm committed to evict people from the hospital. That's a bad word. Release people from the hospital. Every 4 months, right? So next month that box is going to be empty and I'm going to start all over again. I think release. I think they get healed and they release and they go back out into the world. So that is just a little bit about organization and how I make decisions and how I keep things flowing. Evergreen. Let's say you've got something that you just love. I am not kidding. That happy label punch and those happy label sentiments that I just used for Simply Stamping, those are evergreen. So that punch is going to move from, well, I hope it carries over, but if it doesn't, it's going to move from current over to the retired area. And I'm not kidding, that is evergreen. You can just take little strips and stamp sentiments on them, and the sentiments are just a note. I mean, there's some really good, it's evergreen. So sentiments, punches, dies, tools that you love, keep them. Like if you know they're going to bless you as you bless others, keep them. As long as there's the space. If I find out I have too many evergreen sentiments, I may need to make a decision, right? Because that's it for retired. Like that's it. So this next thing I want to share is kind of awareness and capacity planning. And this is going to be a really weird thing for me to say, like if I have my sales hat on, but I have more than my sales hat on. I have my whole person hat on, and I have my, this stuff blesses us, so we bless others. If it's causing us consternation, if we're looking at stuff and we're like, oh my God, I really should do, like, if we're having shame, if we're having guilt, if we're having overwhelm, like, that's not a blessing. That's not supporting us. That's not like bringing love into the world. So this is a genuine, honest thing coming from a person who, uh, my husband once said I was a borderline hoarder, with all due love and respect. But I mean, he has to live with me, right? And I had quite a bit of stuff. So so what do I have the capacity to make over the next 4 months, over the next year, over the next cycle? When will I do it? Right? So, Santa is only once a year. So, will I ever use Santa again? Or like Santa Train, I'm getting rid of him. Oh my God, I love the card I made with him. I love the cards. And I gave them to people in my life who love trains. And my uncle wrote it, worked at the train. I don't know what he did. Something train, something. So I gave all of my cousins a Santa train card this year. And so I'm kind of done with that, right? And then I've got a couple friends who love trains. So I'm kind of done with that. That was that expression of love. I'm probably not going to use Santa train again. So, but there might be another Santa that just has the happiest, jolliest face that I do want to keep, right? So you can think 4 months or you can think in a year cycle, right? But what do I have the capacity to make and when will I do it? What budget do I have capacity for? What do I have capacity to send? Okay, I send probably 100 cards a month, exaggerating. I don't know, 50 to, it's a lot. It's a big stack of cards. I don't know, it's a lot. And so do I have the capacity to pull them off the shelf, match them to the recipient, sign them, print the label, stamp them, get to the post office? I try to do it every Tuesday. I end up doing it about once a month. What do you have the capacity to send, right? It takes time to do all of that. And then how much variety do you like when you're deciding what to make? I like variety. I don't want to be overwhelmed, but I like having a library. I like having all the colors. I may not buy them all right away. I don't know. We'll see if they have a package that's like, just the new colors coming in and I can buy that affordably, then I'll do that as soon as I can afford it, right? Meanwhile, maybe I'll get spots or maybe I'll just do like one DSP pack at a time. So, but I know ultimately I will have all the colors because I like all the colors. That doesn't overwhelm me. How I narrow it down is I work with like one DSP pack at a time, and then I'm like, these are the colors right now. And then I work with the next DSP pack at a time. And mind you, I do 4 classes a month, so I've got like 4 of those ongoing. And I have classes, so I need to have multiple colors out for people when they're here at class. You may not want that much. You may just be like, you know what? I'm about the in colors, a few basics. I've got space for 10. Paper pumpkin's great because you get the little spots. And then that's a great way to also fill in the rest of your library, right? So really take some time to think about. And if you're finding, like all of us, like, oh, my eyes are bigger than my tummy. I got more than I can make. Do I need to make more time to make stuff because I want to do it? Or am I getting too much and am I really like, I can look at my stamps and say, I've used them all. And so that wasn't gluttony. It fit into the flow of everything. I have other years where I have too much paper left over or stamps I've never even touched. And then that was more on the lines of, gosh, I was getting more than I could get. So think about your processes, your time, your budget, all of it. So now let's get to the next thing, which is, what are our resources? How much time do we have? It's like a holistic system. How much time, how much money, how much space? Are these business tools, artist tools? Are they hobby tools? Where do you get pleasure? You know what? I used to shop. I used to go to this volunteer business meeting on Saturday in West Sacramento. And then this was before Stampin' Up. Then I would drive home and there was a stamp store on the way home. And I worked in tech. I had a budget. I would go in and I would just shop and I would drop $150. I would buy a bunch of stuff and I would come home, So shopping is fun for some of us. And if we have the means and we like, if that's part of being a blessing, if that's part of our whole story, if that is a little bit of like, I love to do this, then do it and shine on, right? Some of us, if we're retired and we don't have the means to do that as much anymore, I still love to shop. I still love to get the new. I might be a bit more frugal. So, and if you're one who's like, I don't have any budget at all. Well, then that's maybe come to some of my classes or something, right? Or find kits or find ways that you can do it. So there's room for all of us. I just want to say be you and take joy in every single step. Some of us love to organize. I could spend a month planning and not executing, right? So I guess what I want to say is at the end of the day, what's our balance across all of these? And is it the balance that we want? I could spend my life organizing. I could spend my life organizing and planning. And so there's that. I'm trying to strive for like an equal balance right here of all these things. Learning, you know what? Sometimes we get something new and we don't know if we like it or not. We think we're going to love, well, I'll take you, Lynn. We think we're going to love masks. We think we're going to love stencils. So we get them and then we try them and it's like, not for me. So
Yeah.
that's okay. Then we either come to peace with, that's not for me. And I just know that. Oh my gosh, I used to buy all these velvet back in the day. We used to like stamp on velvet and iron. Oh my gosh, I bought all the velvet and I bought all the stamps and I bought all the things and I bought the iron. Never. You can't make me iron. No, never, never once. So I remember getting rid of all those things. I kind of fit that under the category a little bit of shopping and a little bit of learning, right? Like I loved all the images and I thought I might like it. I don't. So it's okay. We invest. We tried it. We didn't like it. It's okay to either get back on the horse and try it again or say, you know what? It's okay to move it out. Learning also means maybe I take classes, maybe I invest in, taking some classes because I don't know how, and I'm not going to be perfect the first time I do it. I'm going to take it and then I'm going to come home and practice it and try it a little bit more. So there's all these phases. Then there's the actual sitting and the making. Maybe it's mass production. Maybe it's just new and unique each time. Maybe it's customized, maybe it's personalized. That's going to be you. Do we have time for that? And then do we have time for sending? I literally in my plan have pull cards for this week because I got to go pull 50 cards and match them to the person. And then I have an action item for sign cards and then print the labels and that means I got to have all the addresses, right? So all the things take time. And I'm not saying that to overwhelm. Once you have system, like I have all my addresses online, so it's super simple. And I have a button and I have a printer right here. And so I just push a button and I got a label and that's it. But it still takes time. So all those things, and some might give us more pleasure than others, but keeping all that in mind. So then the final thing, I think, nope, not final. There's lots. Oh my goodness. Maybe this will be a two-part. Decide if you're going to keep it or not. Are you going to, well, let me pause. Is this too much? Should I do it in two parts? How are you guys doing?
I'm okay.
I am okay. I don't know how much more there is, so I can't comment on should it be two parts.
I'll keep going. Decide if you're going to keep it or not. Keep your used often stuff in one area, your used less often stuff a little bit farther away. Some professional organizers say if you haven't used it in a year, get rid of it. So just know that that's the professional word out there. Sometimes I do that and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I put a date on it and then I look at it a year later and I'm like, still keeping it. So, and sometimes I'm like, yeah, no, it's been a year. I'm not touching it. So if you're going to get rid of it, can you recycle it or toss it? Now here, oh, I thought that I put the URLs in here. Well, okay. I have a URL for vets, at least in the Sacramento area. They will come pick stuff up. They will pick it up if it's a household supply. There is a place called Recreate. I have one that's got URLs. Did I put those in here? Oh yeah, they're down below. Sorry, there's a little bit of repetition. So you can see them down below. You can give away, vets will come pick stuff up, and there's a lot of vet organizations out there. There's a organization called Recreate. They love crafting supplies. So see if there's one near you. Friends and family, just be mindful not to burden them. I gave a bunch of books to my friend. She's no longer with us. I said, "Oh, pick what you want." And she wanted all of them. So she took boxes and boxes of books home. She passed away not long after that. And her husband just, her survivor just contacted me and he's like, "What am I going to do with these things?" So be like, they were all in boxes, never touched. She hadn't even looked at them, like nothing, right? So be mindful to not be a burden to them. Don't take your stuff and dump it on someone else. Do they really want it? Seek to be a blessing. Local teaches, recovery houses, Craig's house, Craigslist. I've never used it. If you're going to sell it, label it in boxes in a for sale area. So I have a picture below. If you see this down here, this is my purging from last time. I haven't gone through it yet. I purged it enough to purge, but I haven't gone through it to like label everything and get it in the garage. So that'll be added to what I do this time. But label everything. So that's everything that's retired. There's a great Facebook group, Stampin' Down and Up by Sell Trade. It's a great group for if you're in search of something or if you want to get rid of something. I find the prices are lower, but you know what? How much value does this stuff really have, right? So, Facebook Marketplace, it's attached to your individual account. I've sold furniture through it. Be wary of spammers if anyone tries to get a hold of you and text, "Oh, I want to know if I can trust you. Text me." It's like, no, you can't trust them. So, but I've really gotten rid of stuff in Facebook Marketplace, and it's really easy to look up the profile of who you're selling to and do you trust them coming to your house or whatever. Package nicely and put it out for events. So I've started in that stack of boxes over there. You can see how I've packaged up my DSP. I can go through that one day, like how do you price it? How do you package it? But that looks pretty. I'm going to put them out on display and people may want to get them. And you know what? I've been having classes. People kind of like to shop, right? There's that shopping part of the experience. They come, they like to see what's out for sale. So if it's packaged pretty, if it's valuable, if it's priced reasonably, you can make it available. So decide where you're going to put stuff. Do you have space allocated? Are you exceeding the space? Are you honoring your policy of this is all the space there is? I have a retired section and a current section for me. I feel like I'm repeating some things here. Here's one thing I want to say. If you're going to give away to other Serenity Sisters, I just ask you not to do it during my events. Consider like my events like a store and you're in my storefront. And if you have something for sale, just respect. I might have the same thing for sale, and those are my customers. I know we're all friends. I love that we're all friends. I love the connection that we have, and I love that we forget that we're in my store. I really do, but we're in my store, and I honestly, there's a lot of money to the infrastructure of it all. And so, unless you brought the person, then they're your friend, they're your customers. And of course, they're all our friends. Maybe check with me first if you want to, like, "Oh, Leela, do you have this for sale too in your BOGO?" Or so and so said they wanted it. Because there was a time where I had something and I was just about to say I had it, and someone else said, "Oh, I've got that." And so I just asked for respect. But then at the same time, anybody can shop with whoever they want. So it's not rules, it's not enforced. It's a respect thing. So that's enough about that. I'm repeating some of this. You remember to follow group rules if you're in Facebook. I have been kicked out of a group. I posted, I don't know, the owls or the zebras or the something fun. And I did it like my midnight, which was technically the next day, but I got kicked out because it wasn't the next day on the East Coast or whatever. And so I didn't argue, whatever. And I think I pointed him to my website, and maybe you're not. So follow the rules. That's all I want to say. You could sell things on a website. It's a benefit, but it takes time to build that infrastructure to set up a website. Anytime someone buys, like if someone buys a $6 kit for me, it's a $1.50 PayPal fee. So just know, like if you're selling stuff out there, there's PayPal fees. So if you only want to do that, like if you're going to have some kind of volume. Here's my links. Recreate, veterans, you could do a teacher or recovery group. How do I get pricing? I subscribe to, these are my stamps, $3 a month. And I get a lot of things out of them, but I get photos, I get part numbers, I get original prices. Shipping is its own whole topic. I'll just finish this and then we're at 45, Kanika. So buy one, get one. It's great value for everyone. If you can offer a buy one, get one, basically the person gets the retired item free at the original CSV price. They purchase from your online store if you're a demonstrator using a host code. And when you get new stuff, follow your system, try to proactively label things ahead of time. So, woo, we did it. Questions or comments? And Kanika, I know you need to go.
I do, but thank you so much. This is great. I want to look at it again. But thank
Awesome.
you. I'll see you soon. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.
And then Lynn, questions or comments? I'm still recording.
No questions.
All right.
I'm a lot like you. I follow the if it's retired. Well, if it's ink and paper and it's retired, I don't use it. There are some stamp sets that I do keep, mostly animals and sea and stuff like that.
Awesome.
But otherwise, I'm gonna start doing the buy one, get one of the things I'm not gonna keep. So I'll
Awesome.
just get, yeah, so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop recording and then we can finish the rest of our meeting.